Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we are back with another brand new Jurassic World Rebirth release, and as you can see, we've got another Pop Funko figure. This is the DISTORTUS Rex, the D-Rex, and it's definitely going to be a really cool figure. Again, I don't normally always review and collect all of the Pop Funkos, but something happened to me this time around. I don't know what it is. I really got into the Pop Funko versions of the Jurassic figures, so I ended up acquiring pretty much all of these already. So you can see the box art looks really cool. We've got a nice shot of the face looking really angry there of our D-Rex. Over here on the side, we can see again DISTORTUS Rex, as well as that little shot of the top of the head. On the other side, basically the front shot of the figure, and then here on the back, basically the front shot of the figure. So let's pop this open and check it out. So here is our adorable yet very angry looking D-Rex, and honestly, it's a really cool figure. It's probably one of the coolest Jurassic related Pop Funkos I've seen when it comes to genuinely looking quite decent. And I will say, I definitely think that the Funko line as a whole has been improving as of late when it comes to their Jurassic figures and like the fine detail they've been including. This one obviously isn't perfect. You can see up here on the back again washed out areas. There are also all of the classic seams all over the figure like you usually find on Pop Funkos, but I think it looks pretty cool. Starting here in the head sculpt, you can see the head sculpt definitely looks like the D-Rex, but obviously in a very exaggerated, silly kind of a style. We do have some decent paintwork. We have like a darker tone there circling around the eye, almost like a dark purple, and then you have a black for the eye with those soulless kind of possessed eyes that the Pop Funkos usually have. Moving to the front, we can see the nostrils. We can also see all of the teeth, which are sculpted out and painted, which do look really cool. The figure obviously has its mouth in a closed position. As we move to the other side, we see pretty much the same thing as far as the eye again and the tone of color, that purplish tone around it. Moving up to the top of the head, a pretty smooth transition as we transition to a brown, and then up here on the top of the head we also have some darker browns that sort of spot and pattern around, as well as these very bumpy, they almost look like they'd be quills or something, but I don't think the D-Rex has quills. They're just kind of large, I guess, osteoderms or something up here on the top, or ridges up there on the top, and again they are painted with a dark brown. Also, they have a gloss coat to them, which definitely helps those to stand out. They've also got some random like little splotches of like browns, almost like a speckling, but it's very few and far between that shows up throughout the figure. But on top of that, they've also kind of applied like a dark wash, which is interesting and not something that I really remember seeing on very many Pop Funkos in the past. But as you move down, you can see again some more of that brown leading down. You've also got some more of that brown kind of spotting as you lead through. A nice smooth transition to the lighter tone here as we lead down into the arm and hand sculpt of our D-Rex. You can see the claws are all painted, which is definitely nice. A nice brownish tone. Or like a grayish tone. It's like a brownish gray. It's a weird tone of color that we have for those. As you move here to the underside, though, you can see the other pair of arms are also actually sculpted quite nicely and also feature claw paint, which is definitely nice to see. Nice change of pace for pretty much any figure in the Jurassic line, having fully painted claws on every... I don't remember if this one had a dew claw. I was about to say on every limb, but the rear feet do have claws painted, but I don't know if it had a dew claw or not. I would think it would have, but I could be wrong. Either way, this version definitely does not. But as you move up, you can see like some creasing and everything here in the skin. You see the same as you move down through that front arm there, and same deal as you move here into the rear leg. Not a whole lot when it comes to the musculature being displayed, but you can kind of get a good feel for how muscular it is. Leading down, you can see the calf muscle displayed though. We have the kneecap right there in the front, and then again the foot sculpt looking pretty good down here. There is some okay texturing throughout the course of the figure, but it's not super vibrant. As you lead out here into the back of the figure, you do have the tail. It does curve. A little inconsistent as far as the paintwork goes though, because you can see it looks like this piece was probably painted separate from this one, and the colors don't match up perfectly. A little bit missing right there. So it's not really that great as far as the paintwork goes. But when you come over to the opposing side, you can see again that we have kind of like a walking motion for our D-Rex. You can see this leg is extended back slightly compared to what we see on the other one. Again, the nails and everything painted. The overall sculpt looking really cool. You can really see the way that they've kind of applied almost what looks to be a wash sort of, or some kind of slight variation of color that definitely kind of resembles a wash on this figure. And again, moving up, you got the stomach right there kind of poking out, and we can also see how this arm is up off of the ground as it's kind of walking quadrupedally, but this arm or leg or whatever you want to call it is picking up off of the ground, obviously taking a step. Not much in the way of detail on the underside, unfortunately, but it is a really cool figure. Again, when it comes to the Pop Funko version of a D-Rex, it's pretty neat. I kind of expected there to be a larger version, like the supersized version of the D-Rex, but unfortunately no dice, just this smaller version that I know of, unless there is a larger one coming as well. But for a length, you were looking at about 6¼ inches, or around maybe a hair under 16 centimeters, and then for a height, about 4 inches or 10 centimeters. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, Robert Muldoon, and the Collect A Human Being next to our Pop Funko D-Rex. And as you can see, it is exactly in the same similar size range as most Pop Funkos are. So there's no real surprises when it comes to the size of this one. If you are a Pop Funko collector, you are absolutely going to have a good idea of the size of this one. And even though this guy doesn't currently have his base, this is just like an extra one that I got in a lot of other figures. You can see again roughly what the size is next to a Pop Funko T-Rex. Again, next to the D-Rex, it kind of looks a little bit bigger just because, again, it's got a little more length to the body being quadrupedal and stuff, but you can see that they overall are pretty much, again, in the same size range. So this brand new Jurassic World Rebirth Pop Funko D-Rex is definitely pretty cool. I would say it's probably one of the coolest looking Pop Funkos that is currently coming out from the Funko line for Rebirth. And of course, you know, I'm really quite drawn to this mutant dinosaur. Like, there's just something about it that I think is really neat. I was instantly sold on it, I think, after the Mattel release with their larger D-Rex that I have reviewed on the channel already. I think that's what really sold me on the overall design and how cool it looked, was that figure. So now having a Pop Funko version of it as well is definitely really cool. And again, sculpt-wise, it's obviously not going to be as highly detailed as you see on the Mattel version or as you see on the Captives version, but it is pretty decent for being Pop Funko. But it does have all the standard stuff that you usually find from Pop Funko, like exaggerated proportions, smoothed out areas of the skin, not super impressive in pretty much any way when it comes to like the paintwork or the seams or anything like that. Like, the seams are super obvious, the paintwork is a little inconsistent, but I would say in the grand scheme of things, overall, when you take a step back and look at the figure, it does look pretty cool, and again, is definitely a fun Pop Funko. You can't really expect a masterpiece when it comes to Pop Funko, if you ask me. But if you are interested in this, I will include a link in the description to where I purchased mine on the Funko store, so make sure you check that link. Definitely pick this up if you want it, and like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.